What's up, guys? It is 2 Point Conversation here, ready for our weekly NFL podcast. So I know everybody is gonna be confused, but on Thursday, before the Thursday night game, we are going to go through the NFL news and talk about what we think is going to happen with the teams, and then what happened. We're going to go through all the teams and talk about the positives and the negatives. And I think that's going to be a really, really good thing to talk about with NFL season just starting. And I think it's going to be a really, really good time to, especially week one. Like week one is the um, most important game of the year minus the Super Bowl, because that's whenever you figure out who who's going to be in that Super Bowl contentions. So let's start about the drama with the Miami Dolphins. Right before the game, Tyreek Hill was arrested by the Miami police. The wide receiver, this is a press conference published September 11th. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill acknowledged Wednesday that he could have handled himself better initial moments of the weekend traffic stop and left him handcuffed and pulled out of the car by police near the team stadium. But also at the same time, I understand there was an officer, the body cam that got released. I think that officer handled it well, better than that one officer that pulled him out. That officer that the body cam, he didn't do anything. And I think I watched the video, and it was a really, really bad video. It made Tyreek Hill look non-compliant. It made Tyreek Hill look like he was in the wrong. And I think we don't know what made the traffic stop. So I think once we figure out that out, I think that's going to tell us who is that wrong. But it does say he wants the officers involved, the incidents to miss from the police force. I think that's a little bit excessive. I think that cops that were pulling him out having a problem, but I think the cop on the body cam, he didn't do anything. I think I don't know if y'all watched the video, but there was a second car pull up. I think it was his marketing team. It was somebody, but they pulled up in front of him. Like I think maybe two or three cars in front of him was like, "Hey, are you good, bro? Like, what's up?" Blah 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 blah. I don't know if it was the people he knew these people, but it sounded like he do, because it sounded like he was calling somebody. He was telling them call somebody. But the cop that the body cam, he was very very chill. He was like, "Hey guys, I can't have y'all here. Like, y'all need to leave." Like, very very reasonable response to having a car pull up. But then the other cop, I feel like some cops, like those cops wanted problems for some reason. The biggest joke is that Tyreek Hill was on the opponent's fantasy team, but I think Tyreek Hill was in the wrong too. He did not open the window. He should have. And you gotta realize whenever you are in a traffic stop, you answer every single question that you can to your best possibility. You do what the officer says. And I think Tyreek Hill, he was like, "Hey, get out of the car," and he didn't right away. If you hear, "Hey, sir, get out of the car," you get out of the car. And I think that's just not a good thing to be like, "I was, but y'all pulled me out," you know? And I think that's where the police had the right, because it was a tinted car. They did not know what Tyreek Hill. But they knew it was Tyreek Hill. They knew Tyreek Hill wouldn't kill anybody. They knew that he wouldn't hurt anybody. He wouldn't run, because he was almost out. He was right by the stadium. I think. I think. I think it's just. I think it was just wild. But Hill said he wishes did some things a little bit differently on Sunday, including leaving the window on his car down. That's a no-no. You leave your window all the way down, because what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, even if an officer pulls his gun and shoots, he cannot shoot through the window. I mean, he's going to shoot through the window. It's going to go at you. If he wants to shoot you, he's going to shoot you. But it said include leaving the window on his car down indicated him to do so. He rolled up the window instead. The incident escalated quickly from there. I will say I could have done better, Hill said. I could have left my window down in that instant. But the thing about me is I don't want attention. I don't want to be cameras out, phones on you in that moment. But at the end of the day, I'm human. I have got to follow the rules. I got to do what everyone else would do. But also, like, I don't know if y'all remember this, but Zach Bryan, famous country artist, he got arrested because he didn't want to like show his license and didn't want people to see where he lived. You also got to realize if somebody knows you, somebody knows who you are, they can see where you live. There's ways you can see where somebody lives if you have their whole name. That's why if you have like Zach Brown band, like that's why most of the people go by a list name, like Migos. They don't. They really don't want people to know their first names. Um, Even if they do, it's usually like they don't want. They usually like just say their first name, Offset, any of them, like that. That's what people do all the time. Like Cardi. Cardi's not her real name, or I don't know. I really don't know rap that much. Trying to think of country artists, like, because I know country way more, but also country artists, like, they're also known, if you go on their property, you have a good chance of getting shot, you know? So, if you remember, Zach Bryan went through the same exact thing, but saying that I don't want attention. I don't want to have cameras out, phones on you in that moment. No one was looking. If you look at the footage, no one had their cameras out. Even you know what made people pull their cameras out and made this more attention is that he did not do what he was doing. Like I said, I'm going to say this again. The officers, some like the officer that pulled him out was at the wrong because he escalated that really really quickly. And I don't think he did that right, but I do believe that Tyreek Hill, should have done better there. But it also says, now does that gives me the right to instantly beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not, he'll continue. But at the end of the day, I wish I could go back, do things different. He did not get beat. He got swung out. Same thing. Like he should have not got pulled out like that. But also said Miami-Dade Police Director Stephanie Daniels launched an internal affair investigation on Sunday afternoon. The one-off was transferred to administrative duty. The officer, Danny Torres, wants to be immediately reinstated. His attorney said that week. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have said they want swift and strong actions against the officers involved. Hill did not mice mince words when detaining that action he thinks should be taken against. Gone, 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 gone. You gotta go, man, Hill said. In the instance right there, not only did he treat me bad, but he also treated my teammates with disrespect. He said some crazy words toward them. They didn't have. They didn't even do anything. Like, what did they do? They're just walking on the sidewalk. You got to go, man. Hill pulled from the car near Team Stadium, then less 3 hours before kickoff, Week 1. He placed on the ground and handcuffed the teammate Class Campbell, who drove the scene, stopped an effort, play a peacemaker. Also was handcuffed by police during the incident. Hill was cited for careless driving and failing to wear a seatbelt. Okay, it was careless driving. Careless driving, I don't think he would do that. But wearing a seatbelt is kind of a big thing because I think it is your safety. But that should have not. Like, let me tell you, like, I know cops. But whenever you are not rolling down your window, that is a thing that's going to happen. If you do not roll down your window, you are going to get arrested. But I don't know. The Dolphins played on Thursday night. He said he would use the game as therapy. He's scared from taking the incidents. That's so stupid. Like saying that's not an incident. It's just you being in the wrong. You not realizing that you were in the wrong. You were in the wrong too. The officers were in the wrong. Some of the officers, but saying you want all officers on the scene not not have their badge anymore is crazy. Should the officer, but also like you gotta realize, if he says all the cameras on him, that means that that means the same thing. The cameras are on the officers too, and he does not. Because let me tell you, that officer that was body cam, you can tell a he was not a high rank officer. If you saw the video, there was multiple high ranking officers there. And I think if Hill stopped and the high ranking officer stopped, it would have ended there. But I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. Both of them were wrong. Let's just move on. I don't want to get too big of a deal. Let's get on this call. This is usually gonna happen with the videos ahead. I'm gonna put a video on usually around Wednesday of like my predictions. So let's get this out of the way. Bills versus Dolphins. I gotta say Dolphins. I think they're a better team. I think they're going to show out. Jacksonville versus Cleveland. I give Cleveland. I think that's an easy answer. Vegas versus Baltimore. Easily Baltimore. Baltimore is Baltimore. Chargers versus Carolina. I'm gonna call upset. Upset alert. I call Carolina winning this. I think Carolina is going to get on their feet and they're going to win this game. I believe in that. I think they might, but I'm going to call upset of the week. Detroit versus Tampa. I think Detroit's going to win that. I think Detroit is a very, very good team. But yeah, they need a good start. I'm Green Bay versus Colts. I'm gonna say that might be a tie. That's a really two good teams. Anthony Richardson looked good. And I think Green Bay looked good too, but I don't know who's gonna win that game. That's gonna be the mystery of the week. 49ers versus Miami versus Vikings. 49ers are gonna win it, but I think it's gonna be a very, very close game. Seahawks versus New England. I think you gotta say Seahawks. New England look dookie. But I don't know. I think they just got lucky versus the Bengals. Jets versus Tennessee. I think the Jets win this. Aaron Rodgers didn't. He was on Pat McAfee's podcast. He said that he looked good, and I think he did too. I think it's also shows New York Giants versus Washington. Two doo-doo teams. I think you have a very, very low scoring game, but I think the Giants are going to win. I think they're definitely going to win that game. Rams versus Arizona. I think another upset's going to happen. I think people are going to choose Rams. I think Arizona is going to do good. Because you have what's his name, Puka Nacua hurt, and I think that's gonna suffer their team. But I think that's gonna be a really really good game. KC versus Cincinnati. KC obviously Pittsburgh versus Denver. I think Pittsburgh's gonna win that. Cowboys versus Saints. Cowboys are gonna win that. Um, I think Saints don't have what they need. Who did Saints play? They played. Let me see. Saints played. I forgot who they played. Saints. Panthers dropped 47. That's embarrassing. But Chris Olave didn't look good. I think he's suffering an injury that they don't want to call. But I think that's gonna be a. I think that's not even gonna be a nobody. That's gonna be a straight gunslinging game. That's gonna be a blowout. Texans versus Bears. That's actually a game. I think this is gonna be game of the week. Texans versus Bears. I think it's gonna be also an underrated game. Bears very very young team. Texans very very young team. And I think maybe the Bears might win. I think the Bears is gonna win because Caleb Williams might be a deal, buddy. Falcons versus Eagles, easily the Falcons. Or the Eagles. The Eagles. Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. So let's go through week one. Also, in this podcast, we're going to talk about like the last week's what I kind of liked to see. Just like seeing how good each team was. So let's talk about the very first game, Thursday night football, Chiefs versus Ravens. That was a very very good game. I didn't watch it. I really don't watch that much football anymore. I just watched the Cowboys game because I'm a Cowboys fan. But the Ravens and Chiefs looked really really good. The Chiefs minus Travis Kelsey. I think there's also like the very first week the Titans are not good. I think that's very very expected every year. The top five tight ends are usually not good. I don't think any of them was. Um, but yeah, the Chiefs versus Ravens was a really really good game. Um, I'll watch some highlights from that. So let's talk about the Eagles and the Packers. I didn't watch that game. I just heard a lot of memes about it, talking about they were going to get shot up. Not funny, but at the same time, funny. But Brazil is a very very nice support team over there. Um, I feel like that was a really really good team. I just want to talk about like the games that I did watch. Texans Colts was a real. I think that was a really 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 good game. Very very big nail biter. Um, I just want to talk about a catch from Nico Collins, man. That was a really really good catch from Nico. That was if he did not catch that, I think the Colts would have won that game. Um, let's see. I did watch some of the Jets and 49ers. A very, very, I watched like the end of it. It was a very, very running heavy game. I think it's also a very, very rigged game. Also, I hate Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, I hate you because you messed up my parlay. Almost won that. Aaron Rodgers, still love you because if Aaron Ayuk did his thing, I would have won because I went less passing yards for you. Sorry about that. Um, but let me talk about my favorite team. You have the Cowboys versus Browns. I think I only watched the first quarter of it. It was a very very good game. First quarter, it was a very very good game from the Dallas Cowboys. You know. But it looked like Cowboys very, very fast offense. And I think we're going to surprise some teams. And I think that's going to show ready. I think that's going to show this week coming up versus the Saints. Um, what else should we talk about? Let's see. Yeah, I still think McCaffrey. Let's talk about the McCaffrey situation. Messed up my parlay too. I had McCaffrey in my parlay and he wasn't even on. And I was like, hey, why is McCaffrey not on? And then I find out that he was out for the game. So basically it was his calf and Achilles alignment. I think it's also a little sketchy because I think they literally said, I think it was literally like a Sunday game call situation. I think it was literally on Sunday that they said, but somebody was saying, don't quote me on this. Somebody was saying that decision that Stevenson or whatever his name is, backup running back, got told that hey, we're going to use you, we're going to need you to step up, you're going to be starting this week. That he told him Friday. So everybody, I think this is also very, very big overkill because if McCaffrey went in for one snap and came right back out, that would have been sketchy. But he didn't. By the way, I hate you, Ayuk. I really, really hate you. He's also on my fantasy team, and he sold me the bag. He's the reason that I lost. And Jake Moody, how do you score 26 points on field goals? Can we talk about that? 26 points on field goals, man. I do not like the 49ers. Whenever the Cowboys lose to the 49ers, let's be honest, in the playoffs, because that choked the game and the best center, Ezekiel Elliott, plays center again. Whenever that happens again, I still don't like you, Ayuk. I think I'm joking, Ayuk. But bro, I think that would have been sketchy if they put him in for one snap and then took him out. I feel like that would have been sketchy. In my opinion, that would have been sketchy. Let's talk about. Let me talk about. Let me show y'all. Let me tell y'all about my fantasy team. All right, my fantasy team last week. Let's do fantasy update. By the way, next week it's gonna be longer because we'll have more to talk about. Fantasy update. Lamar had 25. Saquon, he had the league high 33 points. That's also weird because usually the league leader like each week is around 40 to like 38 to 40, like 40 48. Josh Jacobs, he had 13. My wide receivers and the tight end sold me. Brandon Ayuk, 4 points. 4 points. That's wild. DK, he had basically 6. Dalton Schultz, he had 4.6. Terry McLaurin had 3.7. James Addison has 6.5. Sorry, Terry McLaurin, you're a bigger bust right now. Harrison Buckner got 9 points, and the Steelers got 12. Deshaun, 26-0, 12 points. Zeke, almost 13. Lab McConkey had 15. Brandon Cooks had 15. And then Hawkinson, he is hurt until week 5. But I wanna go talk about the league leaders for the worst stat that you can have. Let's talk about the worst starting QB. I want to talk about worst starting QB. Let's talk about this. Okay, buddy? Okay? Hold up. I need to switch my filters. So, so here's the league leaders. So, Josh Allen had a very, very good game. I don't care. Let's talk about the doo-doo quarterbacks. Caleb Williams did not play well. Um, dang, he got dropped. That's nice. That he got dropped by the team. Holy smokes. Sorry, they were making a trade. Um, let's talk about Kirk Cousins, 8 points. Joe Burrow, 8 points. Will Levis, I don't know who would pick him up. 8 points. Aaron Rodgers, 9. Brock, 10. Herbert, 10. Trevor, 11. Dak, only 11. Bryce, 11. Minshew, 11. Fields, 11. Jared Goff, 12. Deshaun, 12. Bo, 13. Kyler, 14. And then once you go a little bit more up and around 15 range, that's usually like a very, very decent game. But Jalen McDaniels looked good. He had 184 passing yards, 88 rushing, 0 touchdown, passing touchdown, 2 rush touchdowns, 24 pass attempts, and then he had 0 interceptions. That's a very, very good stat line right there. Um, Bust of the week, just because oh my gosh, I hate him. Brandon Ayuk, you are the bust of the week for me. You were the bust of the week. Bro, but Jake Moody had 26 points. It's crazy to me. 26 points is crazy. Tight ends were not good this week. Like, tight ends were not it. Like, the most a tight end scored was 26, and all the rest of them were around 10 under. And usually for tight ends, like, you usually get a bigger hit from that. Um, this week, I need an opinion. So this week I play my buddy. So he has C.J. Stroud, Rashawn White, Dante Swift, A.J. Brown, White Pittman, Kelsey, Uzier, Waston, however you say it, Justin Tucker's and Cowboys defense. I think Cowboys defense is going to go off and steal, and then obviously I still have the same teams. I also have my boy, you know, you love him, Harrison Buckner, homemaker. Girls, you can be here, so you can be a homemaker. Shout out Harrison Buckner. But I have my projected is 127 points. I'm better. I'm better. But I'm also trying to make a trade. Tell me if this is valid. Brandon Cooks, Lamar Jackson, DK Metcalf. I send that away. And then Christian McCaffrey and Justin Herbert. I know Lamar's good, but he wants Lamar, so I am doing that probably. He just didn't accept it. I do want to talk about my team. Um, so big trades, big trades. Should I pick up Caleb Williams? I want Caleb. I kind of want Caleb, but like I don't want Deshaun. I think Deshaun's not going to do good this year. In my opinion, I think Deshaun's going to get hurt mid-season, tear his Achilles, and be a bye-bye. Um, I want Deshaun. I want Caleb Williams. And then if Justin Herbert plays like terrible, then I have a backup. I think that's really it. That I really want to talk about. I want to say thank y'all for watching. Don't forget, to like and subscribe. This is your weekly podcast. Next one's going to be longer because we're going to be able to add a little bit more, but I am kind of short on time. So, peace out, guys. Peace.